I don't have 6 yet.
Got like 15 seconds.
Oh, you got it, yeah. Evening, everyone. I'd like to call to order the June 14th regular scheduled meeting of the Lamar County School Board. Before we get started, I'm going to ask you that name to be pleased to word prayer.
Please pray with me. Heavenly Father, we just thank you for the opportunity to come together and join together to do the work of the school board. We just pray that you guide our efforts as we take into consideration all the needs of our county, the employees, the students, the children, just our community as a whole. Thank you for all the many blessings we have. Praise in Jesus' name.
Would you please stand for the pledge?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Item number 2 on the agenda are meeting procedures. Basically just means we have the agenda available. If you'd like to pick one up, follow along with us during the meeting. And then it also states that if you have not submitted your request to appear before the board tonight, you will not be allowed to speak. So we have to have those requests 10 days in advance. All right, item number 3 is the approval of the general agenda. Have a motion.
So moved.
Have a second? Second. All in favor? Any opposed? That passes. Item number 4 is the presentation of the fiscal year 21-2022 budget.
Okay, we're gonna, this is a large district and it takes a lot of planning to get, this large budget intact. So our budget process each year starts in January and it will start at the fiscal year is July 1. So we start in January and we use, actual numbers. We do have some that are actuals that we know we'll get next year. And then some of it is just estimates that we use on past history where, just especially the expenditures, we can look back at past history on that and use it. So, budgets are just an estimate, but we've got a best estimate we can at this point. So, feel like it's a good one. There's a couple of things that are very key to the board, the budget, the fiscal years. The school district fiscal year is July 1 through June 30. The county board of supervisors is October 1 through September 30. So that difference means that we do not get our large amounts of federal tax until about January each year. So we operate half the fiscal year without a large amount of our budgeted revenue. So we have to rely on fund balance at times. During February, about November, December, cash flow is slower than normal. So we rely on just have a good, healthy fund balance so we don't get the situation. So that's a key to this particular budget or any school district budget in Mississippi. Okay, I'm going to go over the revenue projections. This slide is just categories. It tells you the percentages by category: local, state, federal, and 16th section. On each of the next slides, I'll go through each one individually and tell you what makes up those totals. But you'll notice that the percentage of federal is 26% now. That's the most, that's the highest it's ever been. It is normally around 10%, maybe a little less, but we've got lots of federal funds coming in through the Ester Funds. So it made a percentage look a little bit higher, and our total revenue is a lot higher. We're looking at $133,554,000 budgeted revenue for next year. That's an increase from last year. Last year was $160 million. But it was, the largest portion of that is the K-12 portion of the Ester Funds. Next one is the local sources. We have, of course, our largest local source is Avalon. That comes from Lamar County. And we have a small area in Carter County that, the Lumberton schools on, we get a little bit of tax money from them. We also have some debt service of, the 2005 bond issue and the 2013 limited notes that we limited tax notes we have. So we're looking at about an estimated 30,800,000 in Avalon for operating and 4,892,000 for debt service. These are best estimates at this point. And August 15th, the school board has to send a formal request to the Board of Supervisors by August 15th each year. Before we get that ready, we have June and July's tax revenue. So we get a little bit closer than that, but this is a pretty good estimate right now. So the school district asks the counties for dollars, the dollar amount, and then the Board of Supervisors sets the meals to bring in those dollars. Student activities, that's game receipts, fees, fundraisers, that's combined of all of our 19 schools combined. So we're looking at about $1,773,000 for that student activities. Child nutrition. Child nutrition, we get local, state, and federal funds on child nutrition. When we built this budget, when we started building this budget, we assumed that we would have a normal school year before pre-COVID. So in doing that, we put on the local, I put $1,440,000 for local sales in child nutrition. That is paying students, paying adults, and extra sales. So the students are allowed to buy extras, and it's in those figures. After we started this process, and we were told that everybody will eat free next school year. The entire year, all students will eat free. So this 1.4 will be less than that, but it will flip to the federal side. So federal will be too small in these slides, but all this will flip there. Probably at least $1.3 million that would go over into the federal side. Okay, contributions and donations. About $79,000 of that Hattiesburg Clinic gives us $79,000 each year, and it's to pay portions of 2 athletic directors' salaries at two of our schools. The other $500,000, I hope, is a low estimate, but there's an early learning tax credit in the state of Mississippi that you get dollar for dollar tax credit. This particular school year now we got over $600,000 donated for that, and it's strictly for your pre-K programs. We estimated low at 500. We really want $1 million. That's what we're going for next year. In the donations that we did get this time, we were able to ask for pre-K classrooms in the district. So it's money well spent. Revenue in lieu of ad valorem taxes, $550,000. That's a 10-year tax in lieu tax. There's a solar farm in Lamar County. And we will get this for 10 years, where this is year 4 now. So we've set that aside and replace buses each year. So that buys about 5 buses. Interest earnings, $72,625. A lot less than we were getting. We were currently at 1.98% on our interest for checking. Every 3 years, the school district has to advertise for our depository. Well, interest rates have tanked since then, which we still did. We got it pretty good when it went from 1.98 to 0.52 beginning of July 1. So that on our checking accounts, we will get around 72.6 for next year. We have some grant funds, about $50,000. That's a combination of a bunch of small grants that teachers write. Teachers get different organizations, so population is small. Mineral leases and other taxes, this is small taxes that's collected by the chancery clerk. And we get about 40,000 there each year. Extra pay reimbursement of 40,000, student activity funds reimburse the district for a bus driver's, salary when they take field trips. So when it costs a field trip, and they reimburse that cost. Other local is 20,000, that's just a combination of small items, fingerprint fees, copy fees, just very small items, and that's just district-wide. Tuition from individuals and Covington County payments, there's 20,000 for tuition and 15 from Covington County. This is Covington County students that attend Summerall schools. Some pay tuition, it's $2,500 a year. Some are grandfathered in when that started, so we get about $20,000 a year from that. Covington County pays us around $15,000 a year for those students, Covington County School District. Driver's ed, we charge $20 student fee for them to take this program. That's just to help out with cost of the program, cost of cars and fuel, and part of the teacher's salaries, about 13. Student devices, now that we're 1-to-1 and students have Chromebooks, they get damaged, they get lost, and we collect the damages on that, and that goes into a fund to replace them. We can really replace. So we're saying this will be our first full year, and that where we're hoping we can collect. We're thinking 5,000 we'll collect. That's just an estimated number because we have no idea at this point. So, but it does go into replacement. So our total estimated local revenue is $40,311,941. Our state revenue, that's our largest amount of revenue as a whole. Of course, is the MAEP, which is Mississippi Adequate Education Program. That is $52,076,466. That's based on a formula of average daily attendance. Because of the COVID and the way school has been structured this year, there's a hold harmless credit in that may pay for next year. So we still come out, it's a little bit more than we have received for this year. There is the state legislators give the teachers and the assistant teachers $1,000 raise per year that will begin in July. They reimburse the district. For our allocation for this is $1,306,000, and that includes the fringe benefits on that $1,000 for each of those teachers and assistants. Nationally board certified teachers, they get $6,000 each year from the legislators, and that the legislators in turn give school district the $6,000 plus the fringes for that. We currently have 95 teachers with that in the district. It's really big deal. Homestead exemption, $625,000. That comes through the county, but it's actually a state revenue that comes through the county. The Early Learning Collaborative, this is a grant. It pays for teacher salaries, instructional supplies and equipment for our pre-K programs. Educational Enhancement Fund, $323,000. That is derived off of a 1% sales tax in Mississippi, and for buildings and buses, we currently have it pledged to some debt that we have for some buildings. The additional privilege tax and rail car tax you will see down on the screen. Those both come from the county, their state revenue. But heavy trucks is $175,000 and rail cars $38,000. So all heavy trucks and rail cars that come through Lamar County, there is a state tax that is assessed, and school districts get a part of that. Educator in residence, we have that. We have 2 teachers in in Lamar County that have applied for this. It's a grant program through, Mississippi Department of Ed. They stay on our payroll, but they're assigned another duty post at a different district. They'll remain as our employee. We pay them through Lamar County Schools, the school district, the state department reimburses the full that salary. So we currently have two of those. That's $147,000. Child nutrition gets a small $53,000 allotment. That is for some equipment upgrades. Educator Child, that's $50,000, and it's for special services for children that are enrolled in other facilities that they're enrolled there because their needs can be met better than the school district can meet those. Extended school year, that is also special services. It's for a summer program. It's $50,000. We currently have a nurse grant. That's $42,500, and it pays for the salary for a nurse and this nurse does Medicaid screenings. It's Medicaid health screenings that are done exactly like it's done in a doctor's office, but we have nurses on staff that do those. We have universal screener. It's a K-3 academic screener. This is required by the state, and they give us $33,000 to fund that. We get $16,500 for driver's ed reimbursements, and that's just to help with the driver's ed teacher salary expense. So our total state revenue is $56,935,620. Federal sources, got a few more than we used to have. You'll see Ester 2 and Ester 3. Ester 2 is $7,301,000. Ester 3 is $16,398,000. That's the early, elementary, secondary, school emergency relief funds. That's the K-12 portion of the CARES Act. There's 3 years. We have a 3-year period that we have to use these funds. There's very specific requirements to spend them at. And how they have to be spent is it's very specific, and we can't just use it for anything else within the district. That's pretty much written how we can use it. There's a couple of slides over. I'm going to go over what we've chosen to use ours for. So a little bit more detail when I get into the expenditures. Okay, going back to the child nutrition, we've got $3,977,000 currently in the federal. That's the free and reduced reimbursement. But like I said before, that 1.4 that we have in local, it'll shift. It'll be in the federal program, federal source. This starts next year. Title I, we've got our allocations $2,899,000. That's it's used for remediation, instruction, tutoring, salaries, supplies, and equipment. IDEA Part B is for special services, and it is for salaries, instructional supplies, and equipment. That allocation is $2,355,000. Title II, $535,000 is for professional development for our teachers. Title IV-B, which is a 21st century program, is for tutoring program. Allocation next year is $199,630. Title 103, that's Atsi Funds. That is a school improvement grant. We have that currently at 2 of our middle schools and 1 of our elementary schools. That is for professional development to tutoring and equipment. That amount is $181,178. Title IV is we use that to fund ACT practice tests, AP exams, technology. That's $166,000. We have an administrative cost pool. So administrative for all federal programs, parts of the salaries for some of these these programs goes through the cost pool. Our cost pool for next year is $120,366. We have a pre-K ESSER grant. That, will pay for salary, instructional supplies and materials, 76.4. IDEA preschool, that is our preschool, special services preschool. It's mostly instructional supplies, equipment, and a very small portion of salary, 62,468. We have a small amount of federal funds that go to vocational programs. That is, I think, one salary at the technical center at 61,000. We have Title III, which is ESL, English Second Language, and that is used for instructional supplies and equipment, 39,937. The Medicaid screenings and the SBAC is both Medicaid reimbursements. Medicaid screenings are the student, the health, I talked about the nurse grant, that particular nurse does the Medicaid screenings, the same as you would have a doctor's office, and the students that are eligible for Medicaid, we get the reimbursement from Medicaid just like the doctor's office would get if they did it. So we expect about 25,000 in revenue from that. And the SBAC program, it's school-based administrative claiming. It's also, it's random moment surveys that our teachers do, just different groups of teachers in that it's a survey that just says, 12:30 on August the 25th, what were you doing? And it may have been at lunch, or it may have been I was teaching, whatever. And that is through Medicaid. We do get some funds back from Medicaid with that, and that is about $25,000. So we use those Medicaid screenings and the SBA funds to fund our salaries, to help fund our salaries. So our total federal revenue is $34,416,276. Another source is 16th section. We have a large 16th section in Lamar County. We're expecting about $1 million in property lease rent next year. We also have interest on loans of $300,000. The district principal funds, we have a large district principal fund that is derived from 16th section. We can't, by law, you can't just spend it. It has to be used for capital items or school buses. It has to be a borrow that the school board is in favor of to borrow it. We borrow it from ourselves. We pay 4% interest. At the end of the fiscal year, we get the interest back. So in turn, it's a 0% interest loan. We have a couple of them outstanding right now. We built a school. Longleaf Elementary was built with this a few years ago. So, and we have to show in our operating, we have the ability to pay this back to the district principal each year. That's big deal. So we pay the interest on those loans of about $300,000. We turn around at the end of the year, move it back into operating. So we'll be about $300,000 next year on that. Earnings on our investments and checking accounts and investments about $290 is what we're expecting. We get some oil royalties. There's a oil field in the Baxterville area, and we get about $200,000 a year off of that. Timber sales, about $100,000 we're expected. We have to, the forestry commission tells us when we harvest these tracts of land. So that's what we have in their estimates for next year. We have a pro rata share from other, we share a township with Hattiesburg Public Schools and Poplarville Schools. And we pay Hattiesburg because we're in the area that generates the money in that township. And then Poplarville pays us. They have a little bit of money. So we expect about $1,000 from Poplarville. Total 16th section revenue, about 1.89. Just so we have an overview on the expenditures. There's about 1 million lines of expenditures, so we'll just go over the large items. But before we do that, I want to talk to you about the Ester Funds. That's the when I just said we have the Ester 2 and Ester 3. That is part of the K-12 portion of the CARES Act because of the pandemic. So these are items, when we try to decide what we do, it has to be a way to prepare, prevent, or respond to a pandemic, whatever that might be, whether it's in the sanitation areas or it's for addressing learning loss. So some of the items that we put in our program are, of course, building sanitation needs. We've hired nurse aides to help our nurses that at our schools. We have day porters that help out at each location. We're in this improvement of air quality is a big thing in the Ester Funds. So we're going to change out some HVAC systems. We're going to change out some flooring. Removing carpet is good for the air quality. So we're going to change out some things with that. LPCs, licensed practicing counselors. We're going to have a couple of those in district, and a mental health and wellness coordinator. So those are some of the things that we want to help to kind of to prepare for the end respond to it. Some of the items that in addressing the learning loss, we're hiring dyslexia therapists at each school, additional teacher units, and we have a student homework replacement plan in this. On our Ester Fund, we purchased 6,500 Chromebooks for students. You'll have to be replacement teachers there. So, the plans for Ester 2 have been submitted to MPE. We're awaiting approval so we can spend all that. Ester 3, I think we're still waiting for permission as to when we do submit our plan. We have to submit a plan to MPE, and they approve it in accordance with the federal regs and what it says to be. All other expenditures are just the major categories: salaries and fringe benefits, which is the largest part of our expenditures. In fringe benefits, we do expect a 5% increase in health insurance premiums for the employer beginning in January. Looking at salaries and benefits, the district has a 17.4% that we have to do PERS for each employee. And 7.65 of PERS is our state retirement. Our the FICA is 7.65, which that is Social Security and Medicare, and we spend $4,808 on health insurance for a full-time employee. That's the district's portion of that. So a $40,000 salary full-time employee. It costs the district about $55,000. So when we look at a salary, we know it's about 27% more in order to fund it. So that's a lot of money. We also have schools and district operating budgets for each department and all the schools. We have facility maintenance, bus fleet operating and maintenance. We have we're expecting an increase in fuel costs, so we went up on that one item. Our property insurance, bus liability insurance for a comp, we know there's going to be about an 8% increase in the property and bus, so we accounted for that. We have some bonds that we have to pay our debt service on. So those are just the largest items in our budget. Our expenditures, you'll see that 64% is salaries and fringes, which is usually more than that. We've got those Ester funds in there that we're going to be using for things other than salaries, so it may the other items kind of go up a little bit. So we've got about 32% that'll be other operating items. But salaries and fringes is $85,646 of our total budget. So it's the largest amount. We have our other operating expenses at $42 million and our debt service at $5.8. So that's a total expenditure of $134,393. That's a little bit larger than you saw on the other page for our budgeted revenue. But that is because we've already received some of these funds and they just haven't been expended yet, but we expect to expend them in FY22. Okay. That's all I have, but are there any other questions?
First, I'll be up to the board, you know, who the board.
You answer my question.
You
Wow, spending more than good.
can always have that. All right, so I'll open up item number 5 is for the public to ask any questions in the session to answer those. Who wants to ask a question? See none?
This will be the board is not going to vote on this tonight. They will, at their next regularly scheduled meeting, July 12th, they will vote on it. This for next year's budget.
Thank you, Commissioner. All right, item number 6 is recognitions.
All right, so now we have 2 recognitions. First, I'd ask Coach Morris if you step up, please. In order for me as the head coach of the Oakland Warrior ladies softball team. And we're recognizing both teams today for them making it to the South, being South State champions, making it to the state championship, and coming a little short, but it was a good game. It was a good games period that we got made all through. So it was good. And just want to tell you how much I appreciate you, your staff, and your team, and like to say a few words and brag on your kids.
Yeah, I've been coaching 22 years, and this year and last year, my first year at Oak Grove, I've had 2 teams that worked harder than any other teams I've ever had the opportunity to coach. If I told them to do it, they would try. It would work sometimes it wouldn't work. But we did finish 24-7. We finished 6-0 in district. The best district win was probably at Petal because their parents were talking about how they had all the tiebreakers if they were to win that ball game. So our starting pitcher threw a 1-hit shutout.
Who's starting pitcher again?
The biggest dog.
Okay. He wasn't going to say it. I thought I'd go ahead and give him that opportunity because she is a jam of good pitcher.
This was her 4th year to start as our pitcher, and hadn't been released yet, but last week they told her she was going to be the area player of the year.
That's awesome. We sure do appreciate you. We'd like to get a picture with you, the trophy, and your little certificate here on recognition. So, awesome. Thank you. Coach Andy Davis from Summerall High School Bobcats. Same thing, made it to the South State champions, made it to the state championship, came up a little short in West Lauderdale this year. Had a good ball team, and I'd like to give you an opportunity to brag on your kids for a little bit.
I can actually say what he said. It's this is my 20th year coaching, and first as head coach at Summerall. But our boys, they work hard. Coming from Coach Knight led team to a new guy at the reins. It's just from the fall, lifting weights, agilities to running to sweating. We finished 31-5. Of course, I hate to say probably the last 2 games where we got beat was probably the worst we played all year. West Lauderdale had a lot to do with that, but to make it there,
they won a few.
They have. I think they won 15.
Yeah.
So I mean, to make it there is awesome. Hopefully, a year from now, we'll have the Gold Glove. As first place. We're returning a nucleus, good core back. We've got lost 9 seniors, 4 of which is going to play at the next level, which is always a good thing. Right now, it's really Ty Little is hoping to maybe continue on weed care. Hayden Barrett's going to sign with Southwest Community College. Cross Sealy has signed with Jones, but Alabama actually couldn't watch him pitch the other night. So we're waiting on that. But Hayden Norad has also signed with Pearl River. So it's been a great year. It's just we just got done a week or so ago. Still
Real fresh.
still upset about the loss, but glad when we come.
I'll tell you one thing, and y'all know academic excellence here. We also have athletic and fine arts and everything we do. And It was not, I won't say funny, but it was kind of one of those moments I sat back, walk into the baseball game, okay, and HSA official, representatives there, and they're signing in as, school official. And the lady says, man, y'all had a really good year this year. I've seen you in a lot of these state champions this year, because of the football, and the cheer, and the dance, and, it just goes on and on and on. It goes, it's good stuff. So
I didn't bring the trophy.
That's okay.
I do not like second place.
Then it says, Landis, your sister, right?
That's right.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, item number 7 is Mr. Ross Bell, the Expenditures. Our books for coming up to the fiscal year.
Good to see y'all.
Good to see you. Yes.
Before we start, you didn't get the spreadsheets.
We got it in our.
One change needs to be made. I was told today, she said, Daphne said, just your spreadsheet, auto premium is different. They added one truck. Gotta add
$68.
And the other, item that needs to be revised, I'm giving Jennifer the revised spreadsheet. That, $3 million differential, under values for 2021. It's there, because that's from numbers. But it's just, it's in a different spot. It's not in the real commercial property values. So the real differential is 346. But the other 3 million it's there, it's just in a different spot. So, and I like to track that historically, so we can kind of judge where these rates are. So the average property, we can see what that is, if it didn't change much. I back that out. Then in your auto units, you can see the changes in your auto units year over year. And I like to do this historically, so that we can, from your standpoint, kind of track that. So we are a little over, we're like 8%. And that in this marketplace is just to see it. It's totally it's just, it's kind of perfect storm in terms of the marketplace. You get losses, you got capital into the marketplace. Capital's there. So just kind of squeezes the money. I feel pretty good about this. We did change one carrier. If you look at the buyback, and you start to see it between one next year. We got better offer than somebody else. That the autos stay pretty flat. Obviously, the big increases. It's well put together. It's well with us. You can see the market. Technology. Said this to other students. Really true. It's a significant suppliers, some actors, church to come in. And we've seen over the years, you see them come in. One thing I like about it is that they have usually just a lot of mistakes. So much that they have a dedicated lead out there. So that's where we are.
So your recommendation is for,
Use a combination, mutual, church mutual, SEC.
that's the seal.
And if you'll remember back in 1920, we had a significant, we were going 70 against the renewal of liberty on buses. And it was significant. Church.
That is the item is for us to approve. Have a motion.
I'll second.
All in favor? Any opposed? That passes. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
I'm gonna be a little bit weak. Yeah, no.
Get my chicken dinner.
Yeah, we'll get you.
Thanks, Jim, for calling.
All right, item number 8 is the approval of the May 10th, 2021 minutes. Have a motion. Second. All in favor? Opposed? And that passes. Number 9 is the approval of the May 25th, 2021 special call minutes. Have a motion. Second. All in favor? Any opposed? And that passes. Item number 10 is the approval of the June 1st, 2021 work session minutes. Have a second. All in favor? Any opposed? And that passes. Item number 11 is the approval of the monthly financial report for April 2021. Motion of second. All in favor? Opposed? And that passes. Item number 12 is a presentation, and we want to change instead of this Destin Sams, it's going to be Virginia Sam, is that correct? Virginia.
Yes.
Mr. Miller.
Good evening. How are you all? People will always remember your one mistake, not 1,000 good things you did for them. Don't let that impact, we made a mistake. Don't let that impact the thousands of good things that's done for the school district. When COVID tested the health and safety of this community, the Brinsons conducted on average 100 COVID disinfections per month in the first month of the school year. Schools lacked day porters. They called Willie and Sharon, provided multiple day porters and additional labor when asked. They didn't feel extra for these services. That's a partner. When schools need a state championship ring, new sports fields, sponsorships of various sporting teams. When Oak Grove Middle didn't have enough computers for testing, Jan King stepped up. That's a partner. Giving back over 100,000 in donations, countless hours of labor. This is a partnership that's an envy of every school district in the state. It's because of your high standards and the hard work and true partnership of Lamar County business owners, Willie and Sharon Brinson. They pay taxes in this county, put their kids through these schools, and share a pride and partnership in these halls that cannot be manufactured. Local, homegrown, the highest quality that gives back to this community. A local inspiration walked in these halls. Willie and Sharon didn't win this school bid tradition. They started with one school, Oak Grove High School. Their quality of work spread and earned them the right to close on other schools. As they grew, they turned down schools because they wanted to ensure that quality didn't suffer. Like you, they placed the school district's best interests first. We developed tailored scope of works for each school as funding permitted. This is to fit your financial needs. This isn't captured in a running scope of work. Looking at the agenda, the recommendation to vote on tonight is for ATES facilities. The company started 1 year ago in Tennessee, who was $30,000 a month cheaper. To be clear, that's 2,000 hours per month, 100 hours per day being taken out of cleaning your schools. Do you believe that an out-of-town company formed a year ago, unproven in this state, in today's unprecedented labor market and start up multiple large school districts at the same time while placing your 10-month contract as their top priority. We understand we have put you in an unenviable position to throw out all bids and rebid this contract. This board alone has that authority, proven last year
You finished that last thing.
to toss out all bidders. Last year, we did the schools. The cleanest environment for many of your students is their school. One person screwed up. I ask you not to let that one mistake undo all the good that's been done for the students, the faculty, and your facilities. Thank you. If you have any questions, answer.
Any questions? Any questions? All right. Moving on to item number 13, approval to accept the bid of $1,160,614.90 from HES Facilities LLC for janitorial service. Do I have a motion?
So,
I have a second. All in favor? Any opposed? And that passes. Thank you. I will pause here, Jen King, if you want to stay. You're welcome to stay.
Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Is the approval of policies reviewed with no change. These are GACP, GAEH, GADQ, GAE-S, GAEA, GAGA, GAGD, GB, GBAA, and GBB. Have a motion. Second. All in favor? Any opposed? So that passes. Number 15 is the approval of change to policy GAR, professional personnel records. Have a motion. Second. All in favor? Any opposed? And that passes. Item number 16 is to charge fixed asset custodian for lost or stolen. I think I said that right. Wait, okay. Pen tablet asset number 046239. And I've asked, okay, can you just give us his recommendation?
First, I'd like to make sure that custodian doesn't mean
Correct.
that means it's just the custodian.
It's the person responsible for the item.
Yes. I recommend that we charge the individual responsible for that.
Okay. So, recommendation from the superintendent is to charge this custodian for this lost or stolen item. Second. All in favor? Any opposed? And that passes. Item number 17 is to charge the fixed asset custodian for lost or stolen Lenovo ThinkPad asset. Item number 044188. Recommendation we charge. We have recommendation to charge. Do I have a motion? I have a second. All in favor? Any opposed? And that passes. Number 18, our 16th section of land management matters.
First item I have is to approve, advertise, and accept bids for a 7-acre agricultural lease.
Have a motion. Oh, excuse me, we have a item. Do I have a motion?
so moved.
Do I have a second? All in favor? Any opposed? And that passes.
The next item is to approve, advertise, and accept bids for a 25-acre agricultural lease.
Have a motion. Second. All in favor? Opposed? And that passes.
Next item is to cancel Della Paga's lease number 924 for 9 acres.
Have a motion.
So moved.
Second. All in favor? Opposed? And that passes.
Next item is to cancel Mr. Carol Hagelwood's lease number 777.
Have a motion. Second. All in favor? Any opposed? And that passes.
Next item is to cancel Patricia Thomas's lease number 793 for non-payment.
Have a motion. Second. All in favor? Opposed? That passes.
Next item is to approve assignment of lease number 885 from Stanley Craft to Joseph Jackson.
Have a motion. Second. All in favor? Any opposed?
Last item is to approve assignment of lease number 790, Ronaldo Fuentes to Kelvin Nunn.
Have a motion. Second. All in favor? Any opposed? That passes.
So, thank you.
Madam President, can I make a comment?
You sure can?
When we had the agenda tonight talking about the revenue, Kevin's been here, I don't know, 3 years, 4 years now. But during that time, we've increased revenue over 25% on our leases. And I also note tonight, there were 3 cancellations when we audit passed. There were occasions that we were not proficient in following up on cancellation, which Kevin has done. So it helps us both on our audit and on our revenue. It's been very, very successful.
Very successful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm okay with those.
All right, item number 19 is the superintendent's report.
I'll have a very short one because we've had a lot of speaking tonight, but I just want to say publicly how much I appreciate our faculty, our staff, our administrators. We just finished, I hate this word, hate's a strong word, but it's unprecedented, the amount of learning that had to go on this year with all our school. We changed literally everything about school. And I think we had I know we had a very successful year given the circumstances. And I just want to publicly say thank you to them. We are fast and furious getting ready for next year and moving forward quickly. So that's it.
A little sooner this
A
year.
little sooner,
A little bit
yes.
sooner this year than the previous year. We're ready. All right. Item number 20 is to set the next regular scheduled meeting for July 12th, 2021 here at the Lamar County School District Boardroom. Also the live stream beginning at 6 p.m. Have a motion.
Second.
Have a second. All in favor? Any opposed? And that passed. All right, item number 21 is our consent agenda. Mr. Mayor, any questions, concerns? Essentially, questions? Okay, I'll open the floor for a motion to approve consent agenda as presented. Second. All in favor? Any opposed? And that passed. Let's move on to item number 22, which is other. Have no other. Number 23 is consider executive session. We have 3 student matters, 2 board and training matters, and 1 personnel matter.
Mr. President, I'd like to add one more item.
All big
In real estate.
real estate matter. We have 2 litigation and 1 real estate.
Correct.
Executive, to consider executive session for the items plus the post.
I'll second that. All in favor? Opposed? Do I have a second? All in favor? All right. Opposed? We are in executive session. Thank you. Item number 25 is the exit executive session. Do I have a motion? Second. Have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That passes. Item 26 is to recess. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second. Second. All in favor? Any opposed? And that passes.
Joe, so